Hello, I'm Jesse McAnally.
And I'm Andrew DeWolf.
And welcome to Musicals with Cheese, a podcast where I try to get Andrew to like musical theater week by week and show by show. And it is the penultimate episode of our Phantom Month coverage. Ooh, Phantom Month, but also part of June and maybe April.
We're almost done.
We had to hit the big ones, you know?
Are we going to have any Phantom stuff left after this?
Oh, there's so much. There's so much still left.
God.
Is the sad part.
There's probably like TV episodes and all sorts of nonsense.
The Wishbone episode has been requested multiple times.
Oh my goodness. We're going to have to do another Phantom Month at some point.
Yeah, every May, I guess, until we die.
They won't stop making this shit.
No, Eric Portrait of a Living Corpse. I actually know the filmmaker. I could probably get him on for that episode.
You know what? I actually think I figured it out, why there's so much Phantom stuff.
Is it the public domain?
No, it's that rats are incredibly fertile.
Almost made me spit my drink out, you son of a bitch. This is probably the most infamous adaptation of the Phantom of the Opera, if you could even call it an adaptation of Phantom of the Opera.
It's on the verge of, like, I'm not sure you really can. But
there's enough there. Strangely, there's character names, there's specific elements. There's enough.
We're reaching the point though where it's like I'm looking back, I'm like, Phantom of the Mall was pretty dead on, I think.
Compared to this? Pauly Shore, you know?
Like the Pauly Shore character, I feel like that's straight out of the novel.
Gaston Leroux said, but father. In case you haven't picked up what we're throwing down, this week we are talking about the infamous Dario Argento adaptation of the Phantom of the Opera. Cue the trailer, maybe?
Molti credono che I fantasmi non esistono, ma il fuoco della passione può dar loro vita e donare la morte.
There should be multiple trigger warnings. We don't often do content warnings at the beginning of our episodes, but this has a few that might be a little weird if you're not just expecting a normal episode of Musicals with Cheese. There is bestiality, rape, general sexual assault and sexual violence, blood, guts, gore, animal abuse. Let's not forget that one. Then you also have the real life incestuous overtones between Asia Argento and Dario Argento by just the way he represents her in this film.
We're gonna go there. Very nice.
How could you not go there, I think is the answer to the question. And I'm sure there's a couple other things, because this movie really does hit a lot of those things. But now that you know that what we're going into for this is not your grandmother's Phantom of the Opera.
This isn't anyone's Phantom of the Opera. Are you fucking kidding me?
This is Dario Argento's. The Phantom of the Opera is a film written by Dario Argento, Gerard Brache, and Giorgina Caspari, with music by Ennio Morricone. Does that name sound familiar to you? If it does, it really should. Composer of The Thing, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, The Hateful Eight, one of the most prolific Italian composers of all time, and as far as I'm concerned, did a really good score to this film. I think this film actually has a really nice score. But it is based on Gaston Leroux's Phantom of the Opera and premiered November 20th, 1998. And this is the plot, pulled right from Letterboxd.com. A man who is raised by rats deep under the Paris Opera House pines for a gorgeous soprano by terrorizing those around her. About right. As far as other ones go, I think it's pretty accurate.
Completely accurate, yeah. I mean, is that the plot to Phantom of the Opera?
No.
Not really, but it is the plot to this.
I find this baffling. So, I found a Blu-ray rip of this, which also bafflingly included an audio commentary for this film. This does not read as a film that has an audio commentary, nor a gorgeous restoration, which the Blu-ray does. Like, this film looks beautiful. It feels like if you restored...
As beautiful as it can.
I mean, yes, but it looks like the film has no grain. They really took time restoring this film, and then they got two giallo historians to speak and defend the film for the entire runtime, and even they know that it's a hard job to do. These gentlemen trying to defend this film and failing. But the most interesting fun fact I got about this is this film exists because an Italian film magazine put a survey out to the movie-going people. What would you like to see Dario Argento adapt into a film? And overwhelmingly, they picked The Phantom of the Opera, which baffled both the historians and Dario Argento, because several years before, he made a film called Opera, which, as far as I'm concerned, is a much more accurate version of The Phantom of the Opera.
Terror at the Opera. The final note is a real killer.
Where a masked man is literally just murdering people in an opera house because of a woman.
He basically already made an adaptation of Phantom of the Opera, and they were like, you know what you should do is adapt Phantom of the Opera, and he took that personally. He was like, all right, I'll do it, but like, no, this is a rat boy.
And for all the things that we're about to say about this, I do like opera. I think opera is weird. And interesting. But the historians are immediately like, it's weird that they voted overwhelmingly for that and that this was the public's choice considering no one fucking saw the movie. Which,
well, word of mouth, they probably, the first guy that saw it was like,
the
yeah,
rat
like,
fucking scene? Oh no.
He fucks rats. You don't want to watch this.
Do you know anything about Dario Argento or giallo altogether?
No, like nothing.
So giallo is a form of Italian horror, which inspired a lot of American filmmakers and a lot of horror films. Specifically, like even someone like Brian De Palma is very inspired by giallo in a lot of his films, like Dressed to Kill, and a lot of it has bled into The Phantom of the Paradise when we covered that. So there's pieces of giallo in there. But the person that the people call like the granddaddy of giallo films is Dario Argento, who would make films like Suspiria. Have you seen that one? I know that one's like a big...
I've not seen it. I've heard of it. Obviously, there was a remake recently, I think. So I've heard of it, not seen it though.
So aspects of giallo are as followed. Like usually, it's very bloody, gory, a lot in ways that you couldn't get away with in American films because they had the rating system at the time. There would be people stalking women or men, and they would have black gloves and a knife, and that would be like the tell-all of giallo killers. And when they get there, it would be the most violent, horrific, blood-soaked scenes you would ever find, but also they'd be framed beautifully. Like, that's the thing, like beauty with blood. And Italian film is weird. It is very different than the narratives that we see, specifically with Argento and a lot of others. He does this thing where instead of just speaking one language and then dubbing it, like everyone's going to speak Italian, he has every actor speak on set the language that they speak. So some people are speaking Italian, some are speaking English, some are speaking Spanish, and then you just dub it into whatever language it's coming out in. So if you look at the American version of this Phantom of the Opera, Julian Sands and Dario Argento and a lot of others, they are speaking English. And then everyone else is speaking Italian that is dubbed over.
Gives it a bit of a weird vibe.
It feels like you're in a nightmare world.
Yeah, it kind of does. I mean, if anything is going right for this, because I think there's some good things that you can maybe say about this. Obviously, the score is really good. You already mentioned that. But that's kind of separate.
Cinematography and set design, great.
Yeah, like some of the stuff, like the sets and just the way everything is shot looks really nice. It's really just the actual content like the story and like what they chose to put in that is just horrendous. Like it just ruins everything.
It is an unpleasant experience, and a lot of big choices being made. And usually I respect a big swing even if it misses.
I still respect it.
Oh, yeah?
I still respect
Okay.
it. I actually really like some of the super weird choices that they've got. My personal favorite, and I'm just going to bring it up already because I just want to talk about it.
Well,
the Teletubbies vacuum scene. I mean,
the
come on.
Ratmobile, excuse you?
The Ratmobile, amazing, incredible, completely out of place. Makes no sense
Give context
whatsoever.
for what the Ratmobile is, please.
There's this guy he's the rat catcher. Okay, You know what? I think we just have to go into it. We just have to go into it.
We can't.
Okay.
So if there's anything I'm gonna say that is closer to the Gaston Leroux novel than most, is the Leroux book isn't a novel in the traditional sense. It is a bunch of vignettes, basically. It was really serialized. This also feels like a bunch of vignettes really serialized, but
not the same vignettes.
No. It just feels like things are happening in a little mini scene, and the Phantom's gonna save a child from a pedophile. Oh yeah, we trigger warning pedophilia too.
Just if you can think of something that you should be triggered by, it's in the movie.
Yeah,
like sorry.
Don't.
Speaking of the movie,
yes.
What? Let's go. Okay.
The film opens with they just do the opening to the Batman Returns, where a mother dumps their child into a river, not because it's deformed, they just do it, and then the child is taken in by rats. The script originally called for Julian Sand's character of the Phantom to have a literal rat face. He would just kind of look like a rat. So when the rats took him in, it's like, oh, one of us. Now it's just like, rats decided to take care of this baby, and he thinks he's a rat because of it.
Look, they loved the rat face makeup, though, because they still used it.
Oh, they did. But the actor, Julian Sands, who was not the first choice for the Phantom, but he refused to put on the makeup. He said, that's a very stupid idea. I'm not doing it. Do you know who
you know what? He was right. We applaud him for this.
Do you know who the first person who was reached out to play the Phantom by Dario Argento was?
I don't think I could even guess. Who is it?
John Malkovich.
Oh, my Lord.
Who apparently got the script and burnt it out of anger that he would even be considered. That might be apocryphal, but that is what the rumors say.
It was the right choice.
The historians in the audio commentary went on to say, like, this isn't even the worst film that John Malkovich has been involved with, so I don't believe it's the script alone that caused him to say no. I think it's money. Which, you know what? Fair.
Okay, so we have the Phantom. He's raised by rats.
No deformity, just rat baby.
Yeah.
And then...
Which... I'm trying to remember the exact order of events, because this is like a scatterbrained kind of movie.
Oh, don't worry. I have them written down for us right here.
Okay, because I feel like the next time we see the Phantom, is it the scene where the three guys are like over the sewer hole?
Yep.
And okay, so I'm right about that. Excellent. So the next time we see the Phantom, he's full grown man. I don't think we see him though in this scene.
No, you get his presence. He is like this figure of the night who eats the torso off of a man and just leaving the legs.
So like this guy, I think he's just like doing maintenance or something.
Yeah,
for
just
the
fucking
opera
around
house.
in a hole. Like
he's in a hole, and the guy gets like chopped up, and he gets pulled out of the hole, and all you see is it's like a stump.
The stump and legs, like the stump to like his dick, balls, and legs.
Honestly, it's good effects. The effects work is not bad. Like the gore and everything looks
the practicals.
Solid.
I'd say even some of the CGI doesn't look terrible. Like when that man gets impaled later on, that doesn't look bad. The rat babies, maybe not so much, but
we'll get there. Okay, we'll get there.
Oh, we will. You hold us to that.
So he kills everybody, and then we find out that he is he meets Christine, and we find out that he is actually telepathic.
Yes.
Not figuratively, not he's bullshitting to pretend he's a ghost. No, he is literally telepathic and can actually control the actions of others. if he so chooses to.
Oh yeah, but let's not forget that when Christine comes out to pretend to be singing, she is wearing a top that you can see right through to her breasts, very clearly. In fact, a few close-ups insinuate that the director knows this and is using the male gaze to really highlight that.
The director must be really attracted to this girl who's playing Christine. Who's playing Christine?
Oh,
by the
his
way?
daughter, Dario Argento.
Oh, okay, yeah, his daughter. That's always good.
I'm not gonna go falling on the sword for Dario Argento. They've had a really rough go at it with the press, but also might have groomed a 15-year-old into a relationship, but also was one of the main speakers against Harvey Weinstein, but also might have groomed a 15-year-old boy into a relationship. There's a lot of things going on, and Italy's a weird place.
Let's talk about Phantom of the Opera a little more.
Yeah. But we also introduce Christine's nurse character, which I know isn't important right now, but I do want to bring up because they might be the only one that really knows what movie they're in.
Okay. Fair enough. I don't know. I feel like the rat catcher has some sort of idea what's going on.
Yeah. I'm talking about like real characters, like Opera House side. Like her and Carlotta know what movie they're in. But
Carlotta's actually really great in this.
Carlotta might be one of the best Carlotta representations in any of the films.
Yeah, she does. Carlotta doesn't usually get like a good go at it in any of these movies.
No.
She's usually just horrible. And here she's horrible, but it's like funny. It's
exactly. It's right up there with Minnie Driver's portrayal in the movie, which I think is underrated. But he just tells her through telepathy to come to him, and she does. And we're at minute 10, and the Phantom and Christine are just chilling together.
It's so fast. Like, literally, I'm 10 minutes in, I'm already lost. Like, he's telepathic. We skimmed over this a little bit. He forces the rat catcher to like put his hand into a rat trap.
Oh, that happens a little later, but yeah, that does happen.
Is it later? I don't even remember when it is. He doesn't force it. It sounds like he's there and he's forcing his hand. No. Telepathically,
he is forcing.
Makes him put his hand in the rat trap. It makes no sense.
You know what?
It's complete.
It does at least give the Phantom that supernatural thing that all the other ones are terrified to give him.
It's true. Like, people would actually think that this is a ghost.
Yeah. He unfortunately just has rat powers, which is telepathy. But when he's with Christine in this opening scene, he says the iconic line, "Your female smell."
Your perfume. Your female smell.
His wig is not great. His voice is not threatening. He has like my voice. It's like if I tried to play the Phantom and it's like, Christine, come over here.
Isn't one of the main things with the Phantom in every single version that he's like a composer or something?
Oh,
is he even that?
No,
in this?
he is not. He is not a vocal teacher. He is not offering anything to her.
He doesn't. He's just the rat man that lives in the sewer.
Yeah, that's it. No talents, no traits, no redeeming qualities.
I am so in love. She's just intoxicated with him because it must be the rat smell.
Yeah, it's the rat power of seduction. That's one of the main things rats are known for, is seducing women. Look at Steve Buscemi.
When do we get the amazing line where it's like, he's not a phantom, I'm a rat?
Yeah, that happens. I think it's a little late. See, this is where I start to get, but right after his meeting with Christine is the scene where the rat catcher gets forced to put his hand in the trap because he killed a rat.
Which this is important because it gets the inspector or Raul, I forget who it is in this one, but whoever's investigating all this talks to
the rat catcher
and realizes that something is up.
It's not Raul, it's just some investigator guy with amazing mustache, by the way. While that's happening, like that rat catcher plot is happening, we introduce these two other people, this couple that exist to be murdered.
Well, this has a bit of a slasher movie vibe
it
to
does,
it. Like,
but in slashers, you introduce a bunch of characters. Here, it's just like, oh, here they are, and then they die.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I think I talked about this in our Phantom of the Mall, but it's like the bad slasher movie trope where you introduce a bunch of characters, but you don't kill any of them. You just kill off like random. Like I think Leprechaun did this. Like Leprechaun has the main like 4, and then the only people that die are these random side characters that have no time on screen other than their death scene.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like that.
They set up like, oh, we're going to do all these stealings and all that, and then they disappear for a bit, and we cut back to them again, and then we leave them a bit.
At least it builds to something that ends sort of okay with the cool impale effect.
Oh, yes, it gets there. But we got to, we don't even kill them yet. We just introduce them, they have a weird conversation, then we cut to Raoul. Top tier worst Raoul? Is this it? Lower tier, like one of the worst ones ever?
Worst Raoul ever? I'm trying to think. So not every version has a Raoul.
Yeah, sometimes they have a Richard.
A Richard. I think this is near the bottom though. This Raoul, not great. Does he do anything of interest in the whole fucking thing?
He goes to the Spanish bath.
Yeah.
He rows the boat, taking Christine away from the Phantom, and she's like, my love.
That's at the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
That's like the last thing that happens.
He is on the rooftop with her at one point.
That's true. Yep, that happens.
We had to check that off as a Phantom of the Opera thing.
This character is only here because they just are like, we need a Raoul because it's supposed to be an adaptation of Phantom of the Opera.
It's supposed to
even though we made him into a rat man.
They have it doesn't even seem like Christine's interested in him.
Not even like a little. She's very interested in Rat Boy.
Yeah.
She wants to fuck Rat Boy.
She
so
does
bad.
fuck Rat Boy.
She does not want anything to do with Richard.
No, Raoul Richard. Prince, he looks a little bit like Prince. And then we're just done with that scene and we cut back to the couple destined for death.
Yes. The only purpose in the whole thing. They're trying to steal his treasure.
Because the Phantom has treasure.
The Phantom has treasure. So they're trying to steal his treasure. I don't know why. They had to die, you know? Can we just get to the part where he impales the one guy by throwing him somewhere?
Of course we can.
And then he like bites the girl's tongue out or something? Or is that... Yeah, that's a good part.
That's nasty. And
honestly, though, it's nasty, but that part's like actually okay. It's like, damn, okay.
And that's the part where the CGI looks actually pretty okay, is the impalement. Like, he tries to stab the Phantom throws him generally somewhere. We don't have leverage, because I thought they were on ground level, and then he just tosses him off screen, and then somehow he falls onto a something stabby.
I feel like he climbed up somewhere at some point. I don't really remember. I think that there is a bunch of like camera shots that don't make a ton of sense in this part.
I think throughout the movie, let's be clear there.
Yeah, probably throughout the entire movie.
Like the fly scene?
Oh, well, the fly scene's amazing. I don't understand why it exists, but it's there.
He just corners her, bites out her tongue. Some of the most graphic violence I've ever seen. And that's not the thing that gets me, is right after he bites off the tongue, we cut right to the kids into the pedophile subplot.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone's like, there's still like talk like, oh, the Phantom's hunting again. He's back in the theater. And everyone's like, oh, dang it. He's back murdering again.
There is so much going on in this.
But all of that is conveyed by the pedophile man.
Because he's the most interesting character. We have to have him.
And I know we don't usually, this is very nostalgia critic of us, and it doesn't help. But right after that exposition dump, we're in with the managers, and one of them just starts having a seizure, like through telepathy because the Phantom takes over.
No, it's the former manager that does.
Oh.
The one that just sold, because I think he told them too much or something, and the Phantom got mad.
Telepathically causes him to explode from the inside, basically.
I genuinely could not figure out what was happening in that scene. The other two managers didn't seem all that concerned, so I wasn't really all that concerned. But maybe he's fine.
The makeup looks great.
Yeah.
In case this is what we mean by vignette shit that just happens, because we cut.
This is like, it sounds like we're explaining the plot really badly, but like genuinely, this is like scene by scene. Like it's just like nonsense.
Oh, did you say nonsense? Right from that scene, we cut to the Phantom on the roof in some of the worst CGI I've ever seen.
Oh my God, I love this part.
I'll let you explain it. Explain it, because I have it up right now. I am watching it as it happens, so you explain.
honestly, I can't even fully remember the whole scene because I was so dumbstruck by this. But what I remember is he's up on the roof, kind of like daydreaming.
Two shots, just 15 seconds. 2 shots, 15 seconds. Wide of him, CGI background looks terrible. Medium of him, baby rats floating in the air.
You like, we're gonna have to like post a picture of this on Twitter or something.
I think I would get kicked out because I think those are legitimate like underage naked people.
It's like you have to see it to believe it though. It is a giant. Well, I guess maybe it's not supposed to be a giant, but it looks like a giant rat trap with a bunch of just people with rat faces in the rat trap. It's like a mouse trap, but with nails attached to it, and they're like stabbing through these. It's so fucking bizarre.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is this?
Can't have an answer. And it's not, I don't believe he told Julian Sands what he was looking at, but that, like, we need, this is the establishing, this is the medium, and then we just cut into it. No explanation, no elaboration.
I guess they're like in hell as well. Like, what the fuck is this?
Okay, that goes away. I will take this one. From that same cloud from either heaven and hell comes Dario Argento wearing basically only leaves. You can see most of her naked body. There is blood dripping out from her between her legs, and she is very much posing for the male gaze. And then we get a reaction to that, we get a wide of that, and that is the scene.
And then it's over.
That's the whole scene. The scene.
What are we even cutting to here? Now I'm just like, we're like watching the movie, like trying to figure out what the fuck is happening.
We cut from that to Carlotta's tonsils.
Ah, yes.
Have you heard of the Kuleshov effect?
Why don't you explain for the audience?
So for those of you that didn't take film school basics, the Kuleshov effect is the implication that you can put a neutral face against any secondary image, and we will imply meaning by it, thus the basics of editing. So for this, they would take the same face and put it against a woman. You would imply he is aroused. If you put it next to a baby, you would imply that he is happy. If you put it next to a tombstone, you would imply that he's sad or in mourning. So I think that scene with Julian Sands and then just sending other random shit in the air for him to react to is the ultimate Kuleshov effect, where you've beat the system, Dario Argento. I don't know what I'm supposed to feel through all of that.
And then we cut from that to a close up on a sore throat.
Yes. And therefore we learn that Christine must take over for Carlotta because sore throat. We did not see the Phantom cause this sore throat.
No, I mean, maybe that's the implication. We're cutting from the Phantom to the sore throat, so that's supposed to be cause and effect. That doesn't make any fucking sense.
You're giving too much credit here, my friend.
I really am. When can we get to the fucking rat vacuum? We're only like not even halfway through the fucking movie at this point.
What plot has there been? Okay, so Christine sings, does her thing, full on sobbing because the Phantom is in the box. Your guess is as good as mine. I remember Sideways did this incredible video about singing while crying and how it's basically impossible.
Yes.
Yeah, she somehow does it through the power of dubbing.
Well, maybe the Phantom was also manipulating her singing, but using her voice for himself somehow.
Maybe, but she passes out on stage, and then that happens. She wakes up to all these children and all these things around her. Honestly, we didn't need any of that for this. For a brief moment, it does become slightly like the Phantom of the Opera, though.
Yeah.
Because
I just the rat vacuum.
We got a while, sir.
When is the rat vacuum?
We will get to the fireworks factory.
Jesus Christ.
Because then the Phantom comes to her, talks to her about like, hey, it all was fine, and Raul hears it over in the room.
This whole part's kind of Phantom of the Opera. Like this is like it's almost in the story.
But Andrew,
like a little bit.
Andrew. What do they cut to right after it gets a little phantomy? Like, I bet you don't remember. Pure insanity.
Jeez.
There it is.
Oh, the bath.
So much dick, so many boobs, all over the place.
Honestly, I'm willing to just go with it.
Why, though? Raul is there. He watches, like, these two guys fight while getting high as hell, pushes a woman off of him, and then sneezes in a dude's face. Oh, wait, no. Wait, no, I lied. He gets high and hallucinates Christine. So that's a butt. That's not what I meant to show you, but... So he gets really high, and then she starts laughing and making a bunch of wild faces at him. Reminder, that's the director's daughter. And then he literally just punches her in the face, basically. Kicks her in the face, gets angry, and causes a scene because he wants Christine. A bunch of naked people stand around him. So that just happens, and then we move on.
Raul has a place in the story. There you go.
Yeah. Okay, then we're not at the Ratmobile yet.
Is this the Ratmobile's coming, people? The Ratcatcher hasn't been seen since like the beginning of the movie at this point as well.
We got to get to the pedophile chasing down the child through the catacombs and shoving chocolate in her mouth. The Phantom
is a very important plot element.
Oh, definitely.
You can't have Phantom of the Opera without that.
Yeah, it's important. But she hides, and the Phantom comes to him and bites his throat out, tosses candy in the air, bites his throat out, and then...
There's so much candy. Like, this man was filled to the brim with candy.
He might have all been the candy man. And then he comes over, pats her on the head, and says, "Run home, little girl."
Yeah, is this supposed to be like the Phantom has a heart, he is sympathetic?
He kills pedophiles and doesn't murder children.
Because this is like the bare minimum. Like, you are... If this is what you're doing to make them sympathetic, like, Jesus. Jesus Christ.
And then the little girl goes back to dance recital, and she's like, "Oh my God, the Phantom just murdered a guy." And he's like, "No, he didn't," then beats the shit out of her. And then that scene's over. And then we cut to the Ratcatcher.
Finally.
They're just cutting tails off rats and putting them in jars.
Okay, so I straight up could not figure out why they made the Ratmobile or why the Ratmobile is in the movie. I don't remember. Do they discuss it in the scene and I just missed it?
Nope. He said, "Look at my new machine. It will do so much with rats." And he says it almost right to the camera. But we don't even get... I lied to you. We don't even get to the Ratmobile yet. Because then we cut to Christine and her maid, and the Phantom calls to Christine to come to him. Then Christine goes to the catacombs to find the Phantom, and then she just comes across the Rat Man in his Ratmobile. Like, it chases her. Like, it is...
I love the Ratmobile so much.
Describe the Ratmobile for people, please.
The Ratcatcher is such a joy, by the way. He's just having a fucking blast in this scene. It's just a big, like, go-kart with, like, a vacuum on it.
Did you call it, like, that's Tubby Custard or Tubby Nunu or something?
It's like the Teletubbies vacuum. You remember and it has a little thing?
Away go the bubbles.
So he's just riding around this little like go-kart size thing around these catacombs, having the time of his life.
He's the Phantom's rat family.
Honestly, he's the hero that the story needs.
Kill them rats. And then I think this is the only death that the Phantom doesn't directly cause.
He just accidentally dies.
He crashes it, and then like the propeller cuts off the poor little person's head. And Christine just walks by that, and the story goes on.
Yeah, but the Ratmobile, it has a little vacuum on it. It sucks up the rats, and they get stuck in a little tube, and then they pop up, and there's the guy on the back who grabs them and puts them in his backpack. It also has blades on it that don't seem to do anything other than kill the person that was driving when they crash into a rock.
Like, Giallo usually involves one murderer, but nah. Andrew, I think we're going to have to put a little pause in our discussion here and go into a mid-show and continue afterwards.
I don't think we've ever talked about the plot to what we're talking about for this long before.
No, but we have. How can we not with this one?
It's so wild, like there's nothing else to discuss.
There's other things to discuss. We have to like talk about how accurate to LaRue it is, but there's still so much coming. We are literally just at the midpoint of this movie as we are talking about this vignette. Let's go into a mid-show, and then we'll keep talking about what happens in this wackadoodle movie. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt you in the middle of the show because but we got a show at you. Today's show is brought to you by the extremely kind donations by our donors over at Patreon. Patreon is this place where you can get tons of cool stuff, such as patron-only commentaries, our episodes early, video episodes, where for this specific one, you will get to see what we are talking about as we're talking about it.
If you want to see that.
I am certain Andrew's going to have to cut a lot of detail out of this one, so you will definitely be getting an extended version of this episode over there, as well as tons of stuff. We're going to get ramped up into it as the summer months come along. It's been a little dead because Jesse is doing something big that's taken up a lot of his time, but I promise we'll get to it. But currently, we do have a patron that has taken one of our highest tiers of $100, and at that tier, they will be able to join us for an episode, which we are arranging. But they also get to have, as long as they're at that tier, Andrew read something. And this is from patron Monica Thoreau. And Andrew, can you read that right at the bottom of that list there?
Wait, hang on. I had the wrong thing open.
Oh no!
I'm gonna have to actually edit this. God damn, I don't like editing the mid-show.
I mean, who's gonna care?
Yeah, that's true. Wait, where the fuck did my thing go? I actually think I might have accidentally closed it. I didn't want to.
You son of a gun.
I full screened the thing as we were watching stuff, and now everything else is gone.
Oh,
right,
shoot.
There we go. It's back. Okay.
So what does Monica Thoreau have to say? They get a free message, and honestly, I think this is actually an important message for people to get. Monica Thoreau is an optometrist, for context.
Just a reminder to all people to get their yearly eye exam and not to sleep in their contacts.
I'm actually very excited to have them on the show when they do get to join us for that episode, because I've been losing my contacts inside my eye, like throughout the day. Like I'll blink and then it'll just loop up into the inside of my eye, and I gotta wait for it to dry out to rip it out. So I was loving contacts for a while, and now I'm like too scared to do it. So I'm gonna get their advice, see what I should be doing, because I'm doing something wrong.
You're not supposed to blink, Jess.
Oh yeah, stop existing. but it's the worst when I'm on set and I'm like, I didn't bring glasses. Fuck. And I just have one contact that's in and the other one that's stuck inside my eyelid.
Oh Lord, that sounds bad.
Yeah, it's very bad. But our other patrons are Melissa Goldman, Danielle Rennick, Jessa Stampede, Ewan Cassidy, Monica Thoreau, thank you, Brent Black, Nathaniel Stacey Coombe, Joseph Evans Green, Mary Lou Choquette, John Vanels, Russ Walker, Musical Hell, Emily Gracie, Kyle Summers, Janae C., Scoot in the Technicolor Dreamcoat, Liz Lim, Nothing is Certain But Beth in Taxes, Thesbian, Rebel RMS, Jessica T., Mitchell Young, Chai Teacup, Katie McDonough, Chris Marcotte, Kiji Marie Anastasio, Layla, RJ Narija, Bjorn Hermans, Toriana Frazier, Sammy the Most Lopez, Lyanna Morton, Kaylee Blazier, Cinemageddon Reviews, Villainous Miss, Sophiana Arlee, The Omega Geeks, Paige Pearson, Maddie Wargle, Elisa Erdman, Anna Loskatova, Cheska Vare, Sarah Den Blekier, Evan Ball, Zachary Torres, Rora Marasso, Mara Forloin, Captain Rodtastic, Lisa L, Nobody, Renee Thomas, What Did Boris Say, Puffy Boy, Summer, Julia Hardy, and Jay Kusia. They all give us actual financial support that helps us keep the lights on here at Musicals with Cheese. If you'd like to join them in getting all the fun perks and maybe one day joining us on the show like Monica will be, come join us over on Patreon. All right, let's get back to, whatever this is we got going on. So where do we leave off, Andrew?
Oh, we just talked about the Ratmobile.
Yes. For this moment, I do want to say, I want to reiterate something that we said earlier, the cinematography of this film is actually very good. Like, we cut right from the Ratcatcher stuff to this beautiful tracking reflection shot of Christine walking through the catacombs, which would be the best shot in any other film of Phantom of the Opera and gets like tons of points for me. But also, it's in this movie.
And it's immediately following a goofy comedic scene that exists for literally no reason whatsoever.
Like, some of the most inventive creative shots. It is weird to me, as far as Phantom of the Opera stories go. She has to get there herself. She gets on the boat and then rows herself over there.
The Phantom doesn't really like to leave the catacombs if he doesn't have to.
And he doesn't like when people get down there. Then she goes there and he's just playing away on his organ. And then they just sing a bunch.
Is this supposed to be the vocal training, or do you think that they're just chilling?
No, they're just chilling. He's just playing, he's telling her to sing, and then she cries and sings, then crouches down. And one of the most either brilliant or horrendous cuts in film, we cut from that scene directly to a shot of her posterior.
Classy.
Classy. Like, you can see the rectum and all.
Classy. Director's daughter, by the way.
I will say, the sex scene feels right out of the room. The candles, the long hair, the sexy dress.
I mean, what's going on here?
Hearing those film historians justify this scene where it's like, yeah, I get why they felt uncomfortable with this, considering it's a daughter, but I feel like Dario Argento really kind of appreciated that people might have been uncomfortable with it. But then they go on to say, it's actually stylistically important to the Phantom's narrative, like that he is doggy styling her because he considers himself an animal, a rat. So why would he have sex in the missionary human way?
They actually say this in the commentary.
Yes, they did!
It's stylistically designed to be that way. We can mitigate the effects of it, but...
You say that, but apparently the first cut of this was 3 hours long, so maybe they did do that.
God. Oh my god. Can you imagine 3 hours of this?
Basically, the post-coital chat about where he's from, and he's like, I was abandoned by the river. I was nourished and raised by the rats who became my friends.
So he doesn't consider himself to be the Phantom. I don't think we ever hear that his name is Eric or anything like that.
Nope. In fact,
he is a rat.
This is the
self-described.
This is the only Phantom of the Opera adaptation that gives you the full backstory right from the get-go. There is no mystery element to this of what he is or who he is. From the moment we know he's a dude raised by rats.
If anything, the mystery is the fact that the title is Phantom of the Opera and you're expecting him to be the Phantom when in fact he is a rat.
Then we cut to Raul trying to figure out where Christine is. Her maid is like, oh, she's disappeared. Get away. I don't like you. And then our fly comes in.
Oh, I love the fly scene. Okay, I don't remember what happens in the scene or anything because I was just watching the fly. The shot just follows the fly.
The maid is just in there. The shot follows the fly. She throws a shoe at the fly and then finds the mirror passageway.
Yeah, but for some reason, we had to have this shot where we are literally like, we are the fly, sort of. We're following behind the fly.
It's weird. It's visually confused.
It doesn't make any fucking sense.
So the Ratcatcher is alive, we discover.
Fuck, what does he do? Does he come back and do something? I can't even fucking remember.
He spies on Christine and the Phantom when they have their non-consensual sexual escapades.
Ah, he just likes to watch.
He's like Denny in that way.
The Ratcatcher in this is probably the best character. Although I might just be saying that because I really like the Ratmobile.
I don't know why the Ratcatcher wants revenge so bad, considering, he's not the reason why your friend died.
Well, I feel like we can talk about the fact that maybe
Telepathy.
The Phantom pushed the rock in the way.
Maybe. I mean, with a film like this, you can't justify it. But the Phantom, after like a really romantic night, you are my love, you are my love. He comes back, finds her at his piano, and he's like, hey, you're going to be singing for Christine tonight, while kissing her down the neck and all that. And she's like, oh, or for Carlotta tonight. She's like, oh, that's neat. He's like, I need to go. And she's like, oh, can I come too? And he's like, no. She's like, but I really want to come. And then let's just see how that pans out real quick. Like, no, I want you to want to be here alone. Stay here. I'm coming too. And then immediately starts strangling her. And screaming at her face, immediately violent.
I know I talked about a little bit about how like some of the phantoms are like romantic, like lover boy types. Yeah. This is probably the farthest on the opposite side of the spectrum you can possibly go. But the problem is that the movie doesn't realize that.
No, not at all. The movie thinks it's romantic. They think they've made like a proper, beautiful phantom.
Yes, but in all reality, this is literally the most gruesomely violent,
unlovable phantom.
Literally, where Jess is skimming through the movie, and we're at a part where he's biting off Carlotta's ear.
Yeah. So after this moment, so he like makes the veil threat, like Carlotta, something will go wrong that has to do with the laws of gravity. But then he just sneaks into Carlotta's room, bites her ear a lot, and then scrapes her boobs. I think his comment is like, oh, why does a woman like you have such big boobs? Something horrendous like that, and just scrapes them.
Yeah, and then he scrapes them, and it's so weird, because like Carlotta doesn't seem like she realizes that she's like hurt until she looks in a mirror and sees that she's bleeding.
Yeah, but
like,
she also
bizarre.
But it also has like a weird, it's a horror moment, but it also has a bizarre comedy moment because her beauty mark is now on her nose as opposed to her chin.
Yeah, and her like the first thing she does is pop it off her nose and put it back. It's a very weird scene, but it's building up to probably one of the best parts of the movie. It's the chandelier crash, which is, I think, pretty fun scene.
Where he like takes his shirt off, lumberjacks a pole, a load-bearing pole, while Carlotta's on stage, and it just smushes all the bodies.
I guess it's kind of implied in every version of the Phantom that this happens, but I don't think I've ever seen one where they're so explicit about it. Like, when the chandelier falls,
people get crushed.
25 to 50 people in the audience, just completely innocent people that have done nothing at all, are just dead instantly.
Of course. But then it ends on a comedy shot of Carlotta covered in dust and like wah-wah music.
Yeah, it's a perfect encapsulation of what I think the whole movie kind of is. Just horrific, gruesome violence, followed by, and yeah, she gets bonked on the head comedically and her hair goes out. Yeah, followed by weird comedy. The only thing it doesn't have is just some like odd sexual assault, but I guess that the previous scene covers that.
Oh, just you wait. The Phantom comes back to Christine and is like, you will sing Juliet. And she's like, no, I hate you. You're terrible. I hate you. And then he just, sexually assaults her as the rat catcher looks on.
Ratcatcher, maybe it's time for you to do something, buddy.
Horrendous. Christine, like, it's a horrendous, difficult to watch, unpleasant scene. Let's just say that one.
Yeah, which you can say it's supposed to be unpleasant to watch, but I feel like the problem is...
It's right after Carlotta gets bonked on the head and wah-wah music plays.
Yeah, like, the problem is the movie is tonally just fucking everywhere. So it's like, what? How
Did
am
you
I
say
supposed
fucking everywhere? Because she wakes up from that to try to find out where the Phantom's doing, and how about you tell us what he's doing?
Oh God, is this scene?
Yes, it's that scene!
Oh, he's fucking the rats.
How does one fuck a rat?
Do I have to describe this? Why don't you describe it, Jess?
I feel like you'd do it better. It's a sad thing.
Well, he's just covered in rats, and he's just
obviously aroused.
Oh my!
And then they go into the pants.
Yeah. Oh, wow! And they've got the shot of the rats. Jess, why are you making me watch this again? I already had to fucking see this.
And then they start attacking Christine because how dare she take away their lover? I guess because the rats are sexually jealous of Christine.
Again, like tonally, where the fuck is this movie supposed to be? Like, is this a comedy?
Let me just say, I feel like you've been with us for 55 minutes. We have not made a word of this up. There's not like one bit of hyperbole for the sake of like comedy. I don't think we could.
This is one of those movies where it's like you have to just see it to believe it, but I don't want to tell anyone to see this because honestly, I don't think you should watch this. I don't think anyone should watch this.
It's funny because before we started recording and remembering what happens in this movie, you're like, I enjoyed it. It's kind of goofy.
Did. I actually kind of still in my mind, I'm like, it was still kind of fun to watch.
I respect it for being so fucking bonkers.
The problem is though, like for a normal audience that isn't fucked in the head like you or I might be. Like, is anyone gonna fucking enjoy this at all?
No. So Christine escapes, runs to Raoul, goes to the rooftop, is eavesdropped on by the Phantom, is told that she has to go on for Carlotta, then does. 3 minutes, let me just say, like, that's a pretty quick thing. We're rushing to the end at this point. During her performance, the Phantom flies down, the rat catcher, the real hero, comes on stage to out Christine and slut shame her.
Yeah, because this is the way to handle this. I get that he's the rat catcher, but like, come on, man.
Why you gotta catch so many rats? And then the Phantom flies down like Batman and then kidnaps her. He takes her. Like, literally, in the most, like, the way you'd take
literally
something off
on
a shelf.
stage in front of everyone. He just, like, he jumps down and just grabs her, and I guess it's too crowded for anyone to stop him? I don't know.
It doesn't look that crowded. It looks like a pretty bare stage to me. So I think they might be full of it.
They're just like, you know what? Like, I don't want to deal with this. I'm going home.
And then he takes her back down to the fucking catacombs. Christine apologizes for some reason. Says, oh, I'm so sorry. Forgive me.
I'm so sorry that I walked in on you having sex with your rat family.
I'm so sorry that... I don't know why she's sorry.
She didn't do anything.
But she is in the wrong and is now apologetic to the Phantom. And then Raoul comes there with a gun and shoots him.
then it's kind of over at that point.
Like, literally comes in, big old gun, just shoots him several times.
Rats don't know what guns are, though, so he just walks up and tanks it.
It's just like how dogs don't know what Taco Bell is.
Christine is desperately in love with this rat man who she seen earlier, pictured earlier having sex with a family of rats. She is in love with him. Can you imagine what this man smells like?
I would rather not, but then the Phantom decides, you know what? You deserve to be free. Put you on the boat, follow the cave to the river, get out of here. And then she's like, no! She fucking loses her shit screaming.
She's so upset.
Raoul is credit
so
to that
confused.
actor. The most confused expression on his face. I have no idea what I would feel either in that situation. Credit to that actor nailing that feeling.
Christine, desperately pleading with Raoul to go back.
And guess who the true hero that stands up to kill the Phantom? It's the rat catcher. Stabs him right in the tummy.
I mean, the rat catcher, he's a stand-up guy. All he does is he catches rats. He's damn good at it.
He
invents a cool machine. He invents a cool machine to catch rats. He has a blast doing it. And this fucking guy telepathically puts his hand in a rat trap and crashes his Ratmobile, maybe. I'm going to blame the Phantom for that. I don't know.
But the Phantom has been shot twice, stabbed a bunch of times, still not taken down. Then just some guy stabs him and does the final blow.
It's just some dude.
He falls into the water like the Penguin from Batman Returns once again. And the rats cry over his corpse. Christine cries over his corpse. And then the most Italian freeze frame on Christine's face occurs, and then the credits roll.
We do at the end here get a really good Christine yell. You know how the Phantoms, they sometimes go, Christine!
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 Don't leave me! Don't leave me!
I feel like he does a pretty good one.
I think he does the best one. Like, I'm so sorry. The mechanism of rat hunting machine was made by Simon Blades, who might have the coolest names on the planet.
All right, that's the whole movie. I mean, we just spent the entire episode nostalgia criticking this movie.
We couldn't not. How could we not?
Is there even anything else to say about this fucking garbage?
It basically ruined Dario Argento's career. They describe it as Argento's folly. And Opera is a much better film than this. Dario Argento has not made a particularly great film since this, sadly.
Ooh. This is a very bad fucking movie, though. Like, it's not just bad in, like, a...
It's bad.
It's not even, like, one particular thing. It's, like, it's tonally everywhere. The story makes no fucking... I mean, that whole time we were explaining the plot, the only time we brought up the Phantom having telekinesis was in like the first 10 minutes. That just doesn't really even do anything later into the movie. They just like forget that that's a thing. Like, it's all fucking nonsense.
Mm-hmm. I have heard from these historians that did this commentary that the Italian dub is better.
I'm sure it is. I can't imagine it's that much better, though.
The thing that I find so interesting is that Dario Argento talks so much shit about other directors. I think that's the funniest thing on the planet is like half the time it's like, I think he ripped this off, but I also know he's talked so much shit about this guy that I don't think he would openly rip it off.
Oh my god.
So just hearing about everyone like he's talked shit about like Michael Mann, Christopher Nolan, all those types of things, like it's just interesting. It's just interesting. Dario Argento is a fascinating man. I'm sure his family life is equally fascinating. Who cares what we think, Andrew? Very late in the game, it's time to compare our opinions to those of those people at Letterboxd.com. It's time for previews.
It's time for previews. It's time for previews.
I feel like this would be a very easy previews to just say that everyone said it was a 1-star and just ignore the text of the review.
You would. There's some wild ones in there though. Because there's those ironic people.
It's true. It's true. You have to guess. You have to play a guessing game with those ones.
Yeah. First one. Dario Argento, thank you so much. I love you for this.
No, this is ironic. This is a 1-star.
That is correct.
I'm not getting tricked. I'm not getting tricked on the first fucking one, Jess.
Next one.
Okay.
Your female smell flows through me like a melody of the oceans. Actual line from this movie.
It's true, though. Oh my god. I can't say it's a fucking 5-star. That's a 1-star. Like, there's no fucking way.
That was a 5-star.
Oh my god.
In a Bart Simpson voice. What happened to you, Argento? You used to be cool.
1-star. 1-star.
That is correct.
Excellent. Excellent.
If I had never heard of the Phantom of the Opera, and I was told this is a sequel to Mouse Hunt, I'd believe it.
It's so fucked tonally that, yeah. I mean,
I like Mouse Hunt a lot better than this.
This might be ironic, but I'm still gonna go with 1-star.
That is a 5-star.
I had to guess.
I am genuinely speechless.
Like 1-star. Like, I who's giving this a 5?
That is a 1-star.
Okay.
And last one. I want to do a case study on whatever the hell is going on with the Argento family.
Oh, no, you don't. You don't.
I think the less I know about that group of humans, I feel like the better off
I feel like I already know too much. Like, just from watching this and talking about it, I've already learned too much. So that could be ironic. I 1-star. I'm sticking to my guns.
That is a 5-star. And Andrew, that is the end of our previews game. Now, I know we've gone on a little too long, but there is some things we need to talk about. How LaRue accurate is this story? It does have a lot of the qualifiers. It does have Carlotta. It does have Phantom, Christine, and Raoul by name. It does have a chandelier crash, which even the Robert Englund one did not have.
It's true, and the chandelier crash is prominent in it's a big scene.
The Phantom is an outcast that lives underneath the opera house.
No mask, though.
No mask. The Blu-ray case does have a mask, though. He does not wear a mask in the film. It feels like false advertising. Give me the Yesterday lawsuit.
Lasso, the Punjab lasso that you always talk about.
That made it
Not
in.
here?
Not that. No, that didn't make. Did it? No, it didn't.
Not that I remember.
I thought I saw it hanging, but no. The rats don't count.
There is a rat catcher. Is there a rat?
There is a
catcher
rat catcher. You are correct. This and the Robert Englund Phantom do both have Turkish baths, which is just a weird thing. That is in existence for this. They also have little people in prominent roles. So does the Andrew Lloyd Webber one. There's the little person devil in the Robert Englund one, and then of course there's the rat catcher's little buddy in the Ratmobile.
Are we calling that a prominent role though? It's one scene.
How can you forget it though?
You can't forget it. It's the best scene in the movie.
I would say that implies prominence.
Okay, fair enough.
The Phantom and Christine do kiss. There is not an unmasking at all.
Unless we're counting, he's unmasked as a bestiality enjoyer.
Yeah, I guess that that is the ultimate unmasking. Oh no! Honestly, having the Lon Chaney face is easier to come back from than seeing them fuck rats.
I mean, apparently it's pretty easy to come back from this because she was immediately into him. She apologized for it. She should have knocked.
I didn't know. I'm so sorry. It was my bad.
It's unfucking real, dude.
I've talked about this movie for years. I thought about doing a Patreon commentary for it, but it felt like not enough. We had to talk about this, right? We could not talk about it.
I mean, there's just so much going on in this that it's hard to even discuss.
Like, it does put in perspective what a Phantom adaptation could be. But honestly, if you want like an actual horror Phantom adaptation, I would go for Dario Argento's Opera, which is a very dark, very bloody, same kind of style, but takes itself seriously. It is in the modern day, so if you're really not into that, that's fine. But it has a lot of the same telltales and honestly feels more intrinsically connected to the narrative than this one is. Honestly, if they had just found another actor to play the Phantom and done like some kind of mask, this might have worked.
Do you think the rat face would have fixed all the issues?
No, but you would remember it as the rat face Phantom.
Now I just remember it as the rat Phantom.
I did post your response where the girl has fallen in love with the rat man.
It really is just kind of bizarre how in love with the rat guy she is at the end of this movie. And I'm just like, this guy lives in the sewer and has like a family of rats that he puts into his pants. Like, this guy has to smell rancid. like you know what cat piss smells like? That's this guy.
I will say they are Italians. They may not smell that great to begin with.
Oh, that's just mean.
No,
his hair as well. His hair is I mean, it's a wig, but it's
Yeah.
like an unwashed, like it's meant to look like he hasn't like bathed.
But he's also clean shaven. That's always a thing that bothers me, where it's like they have this long hair, but they don't got no facial hair. They're just baby face.
He looks kind of like a dark elf or something like that.
A D&D dark elf.
Yeah.
My brain immediately went to Santa's elves.
No, not that.
So Andrew, where does it fit in your ranking of all the Phantom of the Opera adaptations we've covered on this show?
Just to run through the ranking as it is. Again, my tier list, I just go A, B, C, D. A is the best, B, middle, C, below the middle, and D is bad. D is essentially generally reserved for just stuff that I would never want to watch again willingly, or things that I just consider like I would never recommend this to anybody or anything like that. So in A, we have Phantom, the American musical, and Phantom of the Paradise, which I still think those two are just like up
solid
above the rest. They're just very solid. In B, we have Phantom, 1989, Robert Englund, really good. Phantom of the Opera, the Weber, obviously. That one's pretty solid as well. We have Phantom of the Auditorium and Phantom of the Opera with Lon Chaney, also still in B tier. All of these are just pretty solid across the board. All right, this is where we might be putting the Dario Argento Phantom of the Opera
in B tier.
In one of these two tiers that we're about to talk about, C tier or D tier. So C, we have Phantom of the Opera the movie with the Weber version, 2004, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen it in a while, so this placement is kind of iffy. I'm not sure where this belongs. And then we have Phantom of the Mall, Eric's Revenge, which I didn't really enjoy very much, but there was a couple things that like saved it from D tier. And then down in D, we have Love Never Dies, which I just kind of fucking hate. And I feel like I have to put this in D tier. I don't think that there's enough.
I don't think
there's enough redeeming.
I think it's above Love Never Dies, but in D tier as well.
Above Love Never Dies, yes, but I think it has to go in D. This movie is tonally a fucking disaster. Plot-wise, a fucking disaster. The topics that they seem to want to discuss and like show on the screen, I don't want anything to do with this shit. It's fucking weird. And then there's the whole like backstory stuff where it's like the director's daughter is the Christine character and the way that she's portrayed, and you have to see that with that in mind.
Yeah, sweetie, you'll be in love with the Rat King. He fucks other rats, and you'll fuck into him. And not a single lie detected. Mamma mia!
It's almost a shame because like the cinematography at times is actually very good.
I'd even say this is probably one of the best looking versions of Phantom of the Opera.
It's really a shame, and like I'm a horror movie fan. Some of the gore and like the kills are interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the scene with the chandelier crash is really cool, but then you juxtapose it immediately with a comedic element in the same scene for no reason. And it's like it doesn't know what it's trying to fucking do. And it is like the term beautiful disaster, is that like a fitting
I can't think of another film that does exactly that. I don't even know. I don't know. Like, I feel such whiplash because the set design is beautiful too. The costumes. I think this is some of Christine's best looks, outfit-wise, in any Phantom of the Opera adaptation.
Yeah, and then but at the same time, you have the Teletubby vacuum. You have the rat babies that are in a rat trap that are appearing in the sky.
You have Christine in vines with blood running down her legs from her crotch. I don't know what I'm supposed to think.
Like and like you could say like, oh well, it's just over your head. It's just you guys just don't get it. But
I don't think anyone's gonna say that.
I don't think it's that.
Sincerely, I don't think anyone's going to come with that. It's not going to be like a net where it's like, y'all just don't understand.
It doesn't feel like there's something we're missing. It just feels like I get it and it sucks.
You know what would be better?
What's that?
If they had 80s pop ballads. Like literally the plot of this with the songs from Andrew Lloyd Webber's.
Honestly, it would kind of work.
It would. You wouldn't have to change too much.
The set design and everything still fits. Like it's still the only thing that would be weird is the Phantom not having the mask or whatever, but just give him the rat face.
Obviously, like as we'll see from our final outing in Phantom, the deformity doesn't matter all that much.
It really just doesn't matter all that much.
But what is your overall thoughts and your cheese rating? I feel like you gave overall thoughts, really.
That's my overall thoughts. I guess a different question. Do I recommend this? If you are morbidly curious, you should watch this. If you like really weird movies that make really bad choices, check it out. Otherwise, absolutely fucking not. As far as a cheese rating, I'm gonna give it the classic Parmesan, just because this is a very Italian.
Italiano. You know what? I'm going to give this, and you might have done this already, but I am giving this gluten-free cheese pizza from Charles Entertainment Cheeses.
Why Chuck E. Cheese for this?
One monstrous rat.
You know what? That does make sense.
And I'm choosing gluten-free because you think it's going to be the thing you ordered, but there's something missing. Thank you guys for making it to the end of this episode. You know what? If you made it to the end of this episode, you deserve a little treat. Go do something for yourself. You've earned it. Go to the pet store, get some rats. I hear they're a good time. Nope.
Don't do that, actually. I do not recommend doing that.
Please follow us on iTunes,
bad idea.
Spotify, Stitcher at Musicals with Cheese. We're on Twitter at Cheesy Musicals, Patreon Musicals with Cheese, Instagram Musicals with Cheese, YouTube page Musicals with Cheese. Our Patreon-only podcast is Patreon with Cheese. Go check that out. Email us at musicaltheaterlives@gmail.com to tell us how we just don't understand Italian horror. Or maybe how it's not that weird to film your daughter naked. Our keeper of the cheese is Juliet Antonio. And now, for you, Juliet Antonio, I'm giving you a little ASMR read from this movie. There's female smell flows through me like the melody of the oceans. And that was Charles Entertainment Cheese saying that line as ASMR. Did you get the Chuck E. Cheese vibe to it?
I got a vibe.
This show is edited by Andrew DeWolf, so you can point your fingers at him for whatever stayed into the edit. All right. Thank you to the Broadway Podcast Network for having us on the platform and for not kicking us off for talking about the 900 things wrong with this movie. All right, Andrew, is there anything else you have left to say?
There's nothing more that can be said.
The Phantom's Whore! You know what song they do? There's not really any songs in this, but they do sing the that song a lot in it.